Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lockdown Learning with me, Rob Bluck, Three Hammers Golf Academy. And today we welcome Ray Jakeman, the Golf PT.
Morning, how are we all doing?
All good, thanks, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you, buddy. Yeah, trying to keep out of trouble and keep helping golfers move better and ultimately play some better golf, exactly like you are. And excited to kind of chat through some bits and pieces this morning that can help people get ready to play golf again.
No, it's great to have you. Great to have you on this morning, Ray. So thanks so much for giving up your time. We've had some great feedback from the short series that we've put together throughout January to Feb. So, and I've got to say, you've been pretty busy, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been trying to keep at it, and we moving everything like probably you guys have moved everything online, and everybody's got a bit more free time at the moment, so a bit more programming requirements and helping people ultimately just move better, get a bit stronger, and when we can finally get back out on the golf course, play, get a better golf and be ready to get back to. Some people are swinging golf clubs in gardens and stuff like that as well, which is great. But actually, let's see if we can work on the body and physically get a bit stronger, move a bit better, and be ready. So yeah, I've been busy, which is good.
Definitely, mate. Well, that's going to be the order of the day. Our theme today is very much get back to golf. So Ray and I have worked quite closely together with several clients over the last few months, and certainly a lot during this lockdown. And you know, a lot of it, you touched upon there, swinging golf clubs in the garden. A lot of it hasn't actually been swinging golf clubs in the garden. It's those small steps to actually get to that stage of swinging the golf club in the garden. What I'm mindful of, you know, hopefully we keep everything crossed and pray that with the data going in the right direction, it looks like golf and tennis is going to be one of the first sports back. So in a matter of weeks, with a little bit of luck, we're going to be heading out there on the golf course. Now, I'm just thinking, I've got this vision of lots and lots of us sat down doing our day-to-day activities, school, work, things like that. And we're out of, you know, our step patterns, and our step count is massively down. We're out of routine. We're going to be so super excited to get to that golf course. We're going to be queuing up to get on driving range. I guess it's going to be pretty busy. But what we don't want is that overload too soon. So just going to try and think a little bit about what we could do between now and when the golf courses are open, which is going to help. And when we can get to that driving range and golf course, what is going to prevent those injuries from happening and give us the very best possibility of playing some good golf, Ray?
Yeah, massively. I think, and you highlight injuries as a big thing. Ultimately, my remit as it is everywhere. Everybody's from a coaching point of view is to help you play better golf. But first and foremost, we've got to be able to play golf. And if we've got an injury or a niggle or an issue, then that's just going to limit us. And we're either therefore going to have to adapt our technique or adapt from there. I think you highlight there is golf. When we finally get the big green light, we know what tee time sheets were like when we coming out of first lockdown. They were crazy busy. It was everybody was fighting to get a tee time because everybody wanted to get out, play 3-4 times a week. And even clients that I already worked with last lockdown were struggling because they were just playing, in effect, they'd gone from playing no golf to playing loads of golf with literally a light switch rather than gradual increase. And I think that's what we're talking about there. And actually trying to almost like you do if you went to the range, you'd probably maybe, right, well, I could go and buy 100, 150 balls, but actually, could I get better quality practice and only hit 50? And then actually we do that 3 times a week rather than every day. And I've gone from hitting no golf balls, hitting 300 golf balls a week with no step up like that. Yeah, if you were to go for a run and you were trying to train for a marathon, you wouldn't go, right, well, I'm going to run a marathon in 6 weeks, in 6 months time. Right, well, my first run is I'm going to go and do a marathon. You'd start off at 5K, maybe start off at 3K 3 times a week, build up to 5K 3 times a week. Then you get up to maybe 10K 3 times a week. And actually then we start to split it out. You might do a couple of shorter runs, a couple of longer runs. And we should be exactly the same with our golf game and getting ready to get back on the course and play again. A little bit of putting and chipping, some long game work, and actually modify that throughout the week so that we're not just going from 0 to 100 and almost just skipping there.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. Again, like the large basket of golf balls, which can be 100, 120, 150 golf balls. So let's say 100 golf balls. What we would like to see as coaches is that practice session in between each shot, our players going through a series of repetitions as well. So hopefully they've got something specific they're working on to try and help them develop. Otherwise, it could be all sorts of problems. But what we don't want to be, you imagine 2 or 3 shots and you are hitting 100 golf balls. That's a massive overload. That's some 300 repetitions there straight away there. So that's a massive overload. Then again, what we don't want, we see Ricky the Ranger, as we call him, getting out of his car, driver in the hand there, racing to the large basket of balls and whack, 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 whack. Every single one of them giving 110%. So yes, I love what you're saying there. So start smaller, but quality, not quantity, and just then start to build.
Totally. And the fancy word we would use from our point of view would be periodizing your week. Ultimately, it's planning, putting a diary down and going, actually, do you know what? If I was to schedule Monday to Sunday, right, well, what does that look in? And that's where I know from a coaching point of view, you guys work on quite closely. I do it from a physical point of view. We schedule strength training around mobility, around golf practice and those kind of bits and pieces. And I think that gives you a better routine. Going back to, I know what Lyle will have talked about, getting that better routine, that will help you, a bit more motivation, that will help you achieve your goals. And actually that also minimizes the risk of injury. And actually you're going to play better golf.
Yeah. I mean, that's I touched upon this in a couple of the series of the lockdown learning. Now, the actual planning side, for me personally, from spending that time over the last few weeks talking to a number of players face to face on Zoom, it's been great to actually plan the season and get the point across of the importance of your work life to your practice, and how we can really, some of the sessions has been purely on structuring a real smart practice session, which then, and a lot of time it's been like that light bulb moment, think, oh yeah, I haven't really thought about that. So
and also by being smart, again, for the people listening and watching, actually that means that you're going to get better practice because it's planned. And like you said, then instead of hitting 300 balls, in effect 300 swings, it's 100 balls. You could maybe swing 50 and actual 50 balls, and actually that it's going to be a much better quality practice session. And you can do that 3 times a week rather than 100 basket and potentially break down.
Definitely on that as well. It's been interesting those first sessions back, recording the data. Lots of the driving ranges now, so we're blessed with the 3 Hammers having the tracing technology there. Get your phone, snap it, have a look at your speeds, have a look at distances, and make a plan, right? What do we want to improve by? Give yourself a target date and schedule that practice carefully. See if you can beat those numbers.
Yeah, giving yourself some goals and some targets, and we're very good at giving ourselves handicap targets potentially in those kind of bits and pieces, which is ultimately our outcome goal. But actually, what's the process goal? Again, jumping on probably what you and Lyle have already spoke about. Well, what's the process? What does that break down? Let's look at it from a coaching point of view. Let's look at it from a sports psych point of view. Let's look at it from a physical point of view. Let's put some targets and goals and work with multiple practitioners to actually really, truly improve your golf game, rather than just going, well, I'm going to get my handicap down this year. How are we going to do it? Why are we going to do it as well? Which is the overriding question. Well, I want to win that trophy. I want to win my club champs. I want to win my weekly staple for my weekly. Finding out why and putting those bits and pieces, then and that's what these lockdown learnings are going to be great for, because they're just giving you that insight and that little tips to just kind of go away, think, and then come back and really work on them.
Yeah, I hope so, Bud. I've really do hope so. But again, from the clients who have reached out so far, so that the feedback has been great. Many of them have only just now, the snow is clearing, albeit I think temperature may be dropping again.
I think we might be getting a bit more this weekend, but yeah.
Hopefully those the clubs are coming out from the garage now, and a few people are going out. Maybe increasing the walks, the daily walks, and mindful of that return back to everyday life and society. So, with that in mind, between now and getting back to that golf course, what can we do? The golf PT, what's the best, again, perhaps thinking about what we can fuel our bodies with, what can we do on a day-to-day basis there to make sure that when we get out there, when we played our rounds of golf, we're not going to ache like hell the following day. We're not going to we're not going to seize up on the final 3 or 4 holes. What can we do to really make sure that when we're out there, we're going to be fit, healthy, and playing good golf?
Playing good golf. Yeah. I mean, so I suppose there's 2 ways we need to look at it is what can we do now in current situation of lockdown, and those kind of things actually link into when we're out of lockdown and trying to improve for our golf game. What can we do and strategies we can bring in? And then the second one is actually what we do when we get to that that golf course. So I think we mentioned warm-ups very briefly, but also, so if we look at it, what we can do now, I think, so you've already highlighted steps. We need to get out, get some fresh air from both I'm working from the office at home at the moment. How many people are working from home and spending a lot of time at the desk? So we probably need to get our physicality up. Steps are probably down unless you're on a plan or program already. So can we get out and once a day, do you know what? Get outside, get some fresh air for 20 minutes. It's going to do great things for your body. It's also going to do great things for your mentality and from a mindset point of view, which is going to help you then want to push on and do other bits and pieces. So firstly, can we get steps up? Can we set ourselves a step target?
If I can just jump in there, steps. I mean, for those of people who don't know that, most mobile devices now have got the health apps on there, which you can, it's amazing how much information is on this about you. Yeah.
Yeah, massively. So that's where I kind of go into is, could we set a step count and actually go, do you know what? My target is, do you know what? I'm not very active. I'm going to aim to hit 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day. Okay, well, I'm a bit more active. Well, I want to hit 10,000 steps a day. And I think if we can get to around about that 10,000 steps a day, then you're going to be making a big difference yourself. And that could really, you could easily chunk 6,000 steps off by going out for a 30-minute walk outside in the fresh air. It's not too much time. Put a podcast on, listen to something, and actually make it so not only are we improving from a physical point of view, but put a podcast on. There's loads of golfing podcasts out there you could listen to if you want to listen to golf. There's loads of other options around kind of business and mental health and mindfulness and those kind of bits. It's literally endless. You can almost check it off or get yourself an audiobook and do it that way. So you've got plenty of options there to get out. You get 6,000 steps in straight away in half an hour, and we get out. And that's going to make a nice big difference from a body point of view as well. You're more likely then by doing that to probably eat a little bit better. So other things can we do at the moment? Can we be getting at least our 5 portions of fruit and veg in a day? Can we be looking at drinking kind of roughly around about 2 liters of water a day? And can we also be limiting our caffeine intake? I'm a really bad one for it. Really, I love my coffee, love the taste of it. And I've got a 15-month-old at home as well. So the caffeine is required for other needs as well. But can we limit our caffeine intake? Can we actually go, do you know what, maybe get to lunchtime and we don't drink any caffeine, or we move to decaf tea or coffee? Can we then actually, if we're drinking 4, 5, 6 cups of tea or coffee a day, can we limit that down to 3? Because that's going to have an impact on how you sleep. And then that leads me into the next one, which is actually, could we sleep a little bit better? So it's very easy at the moment in lockdown, because we're not at the moment potentially getting outside, that we just sleep a little bit later. We don't have our commute, so we don't get up as early, and our bedtimes change throughout the week, and our body's built on routine. So if you're sleeping one day, we go to bed at 10 o'clock, the next night we stay up till 12 o'clock, the next day we're then going back to, we need to try and set some rough bedtimes and wake times. And again, going back to our phones, especially like I've got an iPhone as you have, you can set kind of bedtime, wake time alarms and set just to give you some parameters. And you'll be surprised that just doing those simple things of getting out and getting your steps in, 5 fruit and veg a day, at least 2 liters of water, and minimizing your caffeine, and getting a better sleep routine, those 5 simple things there are going to make a massive difference to, firstly, your health. Now, if we're healthier, we're a bit fitter, you're going to play better golf. Simple as. Before we even look at the specifics around actually, well, could we do some movement stuff at home, which we've already alluded to? Could we then get a better warm-up when we swing in a golf club? So simple, the key 5 things, if I think anybody's going to take anything away, would be those of kind of steps, eat better, or trying to get some more fruit and veg into our systems, keeping a decent amount of water into there, limiting our caffeine, and getting a better sleep cycle. I think those would be just the foundation principles to start with.
Yeah, that's sound advice there, Ray. Love that. And also possibly now even factoring in getting those, we talked about getting the golf clubs out of the garage, but maybe once or twice a week now, maybe just for 10 minutes at a time, get out in the garden now and start moving that golf club as well. Start making some swings, build it into, if you're fortunate enough to have any kind of airflow balls or little scrunched up pieces of tin foil, work just great. Anything there that we could, so a couple of rehearsal swings, and add a little bit of consequence there. Pop it on the golf ball, and trust me, your neighbours won't think you've gone too crazy. Yeah. So
no, I think the amount of people that are probably doing that is maybe not as much as it was in lockdown 1 last year, but yeah, I think that's the next step.
Still a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. Is once we've almost it's like building a house. Ultimately, your foundations, you sort those right, which are the things we spoke about. We then next look at building the outside and the roof, etc. Well, that's where we're starting to talk about now. It's actually right. We're process led and start get the body right. Now we start to swing the golf club. We start to maybe actually now I need to speak to Rob, Steve, etc. at Three Hammers. And actually, well, how's my swing looking? Maybe we jump in and we get a virtual lesson and actually go, actually, how does that look at? You might then highlight, well, actually, do you know what? They're not moving very well. And we can actually then start looking at some movement stuff. We'll get in touch and can start to build a bit of some home movement stuff.
Definitely. I mean, just the last couple of weeks, we've had like crazy, an amount of inquiries there of virtual lessons, and so simple as getting a couple of recordings, sending it across to us. We'll make our observations and ping it back. So what we've been doing, if any of our guys are watching this as well, who are currently on a development program or a paid subscription with us, we'll gladly review your golf swing for free, guys. So, it's all part of the being involved and being subscribed to us at the Three Hammers. So, okay, now we've touched upon kind of getting us back there. Now, big burning question. Now, we could probably talk all day about this. I'm sure we can, but we're going to probably just we're going to go through the main priority points of warm up. Okay, yep. So when so we've got to the driving range. We've resisted the temptation of just grabbing the driver. We've actually taken driver and a 3-wood as well. Now we're taking a driver, a mid-iron, wedge. Strongly recommend guys start that range, practice hitting a few wedges just to begin with. What would you advise? Let's think of a young golfer with regards to warm up here. Young golfer, middle-aged golfer, and older golfer. So what would you advise them to be doing? How long should they be warming up? What should we be looking at doing? How does warm up differ?
Yeah, so I think again with everything, we'll always come back to principles like you will do with golf swings, because everybody will swing a club differently as everybody is slightly different in their body. So I think principle wise, we need to look at, and there's a system we typically would use is called a ramp warm up. So basically we raise the heart rate, we get the blood pumping, we activate and mobilize the body, we get you moving better ultimately, and then we potentiate the body is the fancy phrases we use. And that really simply looks at, we're going to get you moving. By getting you moving and rotating, we're going to get your heart rate up. We get some really warm blood pumping around. We get you warmer. You can probably move better and then hit the golf ball further and hit the shapes ultimately you want to. So from a warm-up point of view straight away, just giving some facts, we know that if you make a dynamic warm-up as opposed to a static warm-up, so rather than holding a static stretch for 30 to 60 seconds, we make it dynamic. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to make you're going to warm up a bit better. So you're going to get warmer. So we can shorten the time of it. It's not going to take as long. So we become more efficient.
Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the difference between dynamic and static, Ray?
Yeah, so a static stretch would be what you've probably seen, probably back a little bit older school, where we'd actually maybe sit on the floor. We statically stretch our hamstrings. We may statically stretch our quads by standing up, pulling our heel to our bum and those kind of bits and pieces. Whereas a dynamic stretch is going to be a bit more about movement and taking you through range. So typically I would talk about something maybe more like a Spider-Man or a rotating drill, where actually it's about flowing. So if you probably look at it, dynamic would be a little bit more like yoga, where it's actually you're moving through it. Whereas your static stretch might be what you used to get, where actually, right, I'm just going to statically stretch. I'm going to go down, touch my toes, and I'm going to hold it for 30 seconds. Then I'll do my other side, hold for 30 seconds. Whereas we're actually going to do it more dynamic and moving. So that would be.
If I could jump in there, sorry, Ray. So with a static stretch, am I right in thinking when you actually stretch that muscle group, what actually happens then? That muscle then goes into spasm. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
So that's what I've again, the theories and things which you've heard about the difference between static and dynamic. So if we stretch that muscle, in actual fact, it can for some players become counterproductive.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, it can be counterproductive. What the main thing, if we think about golf is a power-based sport, and I will happily, if anybody wants to have a discussion around that, by all means, find my details out and we'll chat. We'll go for high heavens. I will argue golf is much more like Olympic weightlifting than it is marathon running, even though it is based over 4 hours for a full round of golf. And I think the guys and girls on the tours are showing that. Lexi, Bryson, obviously, McIlroy, etc., are showing that actually it's more of a power-based sport. So actually, if we do a static stretch, what can happen is you can decrease the muscle strength and power that it can produce. So ultimately, in effect, you're just watering down what you could be doing. So the major thing that's going to have from a golf point of view is that you're not there going to be able to turn potentially as quick or as forceful, and actually your ball speed could be down by doing a static stretch.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there are certain times where we might need to do that, but that's going to be very, very specific to that individual player. And actually a dynamic warm-up for the majority of players, and actually pretty much everybody, is going to be much more along the line of where we want to go.
Cool. So dynamic. So examples of dynamic warm-up. Sorry, I jumped in there, didn't I? With
No.
So.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, we know that if we get a dynamic warm-up, we can have a significant increase in ball speed. So actually, straight away, for me as an SSE coach, to help you as the coach and the player out, we're going to warm up the body. We're going to hit the ball further. So that actually, and we know, and we spoke about this on our group kind of session that we did a little while ago with you, me, Lyle, and Steve, that actually, if you can increase your distance, we can bring your handicap down, and there's a direct correlation between the two. So if we do the right warm-up, we hit the ball further, we are more likely, therefore, to go back to our outcome goal of getting our handicap down from that point of view. And the way it works out would be much more around kind of dynamic movement of ultimately maybe like some walking into a lunge with a rotation would be an example of that, would be more of a dynamic. So rather than a static hip flexor stretch where you put your knee on the floor and just stretch and hold for 30 seconds, actually going down into a lunge, maybe with a club across your chest and adding a rotation into that lead leg would be
kind of demonstrate that, yeah?
Yeah, by all means. So if you were to step back from that position, you could probably pop that club across your chest. Yeah, you could either add into there, or the one I quite like is if we have that club across that chest, elbows up nice and tall, Rob. And as you lunge forward with your left leg, you just then rotate over that front side and then away as well, and then come back.
Away.
So you can, so just lunging down, rotate the other way, and then come back up. And as we get better at it, we get a little bit deeper into it, we can add more range, and we can really simply make that kind of 8 reps onto each side from there. We could challenge you and make it more harder by having the club overhead to make it a little bit harder for the more advanced guys and girls. And if you find it more difficult, you've got a chair there, you can actually semi-support yourself. So if we look at that across the range, your younger golfer who's probably going to move a little bit better and needs a bit more of a challenge, we can go to that club overhead to make it harder. But your senior golfer who may struggle a little bit more with their balance, may not have as much mobility as some of those juniors could, we can have a chair, a tee box, or kind of like your tee signage. You could hold onto that, lunge down onto that, so you've got something to help your balance to help through from there as well.
Okay, I could probably do with that. So if I just hold my chair here, so
if you had that chair there, you could just lunge down into that position and then just turn your chest towards that chair would be the example. Okay. So still lunging down into that and then just rotating over there, and you're using that chair as a bit of a balance point. You're still going to improve your hip range through there, and we're also going to improve our upper back rotation range. And those are the 2 big things we need to probably look at from a warm-up point of view from there.
Cool. Going to squat as well?
You can do, and again, it's all down to how much time you've got. And I think you asked the question of how long should a warm-up take. If we're hitting around about, if we can do around about 10 minutes worth of movement stuff, that's going to be enough to be doing. I think the other thing to look at is like we said about, it's going to be cold out there this weekend anyway. I know we're not out on the course, but say we get back out in 4 weeks' time, it might still be cold, so appropriate clothing. So if you're wearing a good layer or 2, you can keep that warm-up should stay around there. So when it's freezing cold outside, we're not going out in shorts and t-shirt. Again, we get cold, we decrease our ability to create power. Therefore, we're not going to hit the ball as far. So actually making sure we're appropriately clothed, that means that your warm-up should still be able to stay around about 10 minutes long. We'd be looking to hit 4 to 5 minutes worth of general movement, a couple of minutes of potentially maybe some jumping if we feel comfortable to do that. And then it might be going that last couple of minutes of just technically trying to hit some positions with a club in hand. And if you really want to, and we're feeling really good, that final potentiation would be actually just trying to dry swing a golf club. So actually we're now moving, we're nice and warm, we've got the appropriate ranges we need to based on what we need, and actually then standing there and maybe doing 5 to 10 swings with the driver and actually just trying to move it progressively. So the first few nice and smooth, then we start to move it a little bit quicker, and then we might do 2 or 3 where we do try and swing it quite quickly, and then we would then go into our technical warm-up.
Yeah.
Which at the range would be guided by you guys.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I've got to say, I could probably count on one hand how many guys I actually see spending 10 minutes on a driving range going through warm up. Now, certainly when you go and look at the guys, the elite level golfers, I think majority of them are all doing exactly that. They've done that before they've got to the range. But again, if you're really serious about your golf development, guys, please take Ray's advice on board. And for more information about warm up, I'm sure Ray, ping him a message. I'm sure he'll be glad to help with that.
I think the overarching thing for me with a warm up, and we don't do it very much in golf at the moment because I don't know whether it's not seen as the done thing, dare I say it. But ultimately, what it's going to lead to is it's going to lead to you moving better. It's going to mean your practice is better. So because your practice is better, so it takes 10 minutes, Ray. But the thing is when you go and practice at the range, I can guarantee the first 15 to maybe 20 minutes of your practice is pretty rubbish because you're warming up anyway. You're just not doing it very smart. So actually, could we be more efficient? And actually, instead of, I haven't got time, Ray, I've only got 45 minutes at the range. Well, give me 5 minutes of it, because I guarantee the next 40 minutes of your range session are going to be so much better than what they would have been beforehand. So actually, we're improving your practice. Again, going back to that point of you got to play better.
Cool. It kind of goes with the ball, it falls hand in hand with the ball count as well, doesn't it? And if your practice session consists of like half an hour, large basket, whack, 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 gone. Let's get that. You still keep it half an hour. Let's cut the basket size in half. Let's make the most of the warm up. I think going right back to what we said at the start about getting ourselves ready for golf as well. Don't just go out there full load. Let's start smaller. Let's start. We said about the negative effects of static stretching. I'd rather somebody static stretch than not stretch and not do anything before they go and play golf. So
completely. And I think actually doing some movement, because again, somebody's probably going to hold a static stretch not too hard. That's again going to be better than doing nothing from that point of view. And again, some people might have a specific shoulder issue, and actually, do you know what, a physiotherapist, or we've worked together and we've given you a specific intervention. I'm not saying there's always going to be intricacies and differences for an individual person. So and that's where actually this is a great to get ideas flowing. But if you want a specific warm-up, then get in touch, because we'll do a movement assessment and let's find out, do you know what, actually, my upper back, I've got great range, but my hips are not very good. So a couple of the exercises you don't really need to do, or you might only need to do one of them, so we can be more efficient with that time again. And it's about individualizing, like you would do from a golf coach point of view. You go and see a pro because they work with you, and it's not just a generic kind of jump on YouTube and, this is the latest swing thing that I need to do. Well, actually, find out what you need.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really valid point there. Again, now I was speaking to some of the guys who are doing the applied golf management degree at Birmingham Uni just recently. And there's a lot of research out there now. And one of the questions, I've just took part in quite a thorough interview process, really helping them with ascertain certain information about the business and the industry and how it's kind of evolved. There's so much information out there now, especially you take a young trainee golf pro coming through who wants to be a golf coach. Literally at the click of the button, they've got everything. Yeah, they've got everything. But again, which is great. I mean, I kind of in a way wish in some respects I had that back in the day. However, I kind of followed my pathway and actually picking out the right bits of information. I think it's really, really important that golf is very much an individual sport. You yourself are an individual, and it's whatever works for yourself. And taking little snippets on board, because it's crazy. You'd be foolish there to try everything. I think the impossible is try everything, because there's so much out there.
Yeah, totally. And you just get pulled in different, you imagine everything. You just get pulled in so many different ways. And all of a sudden you've lost sight of, well, actually, what are we trying to do and what are we really trying to achieve? Again, come back to that, set yourself a full outcome goal, and then set yourself all the processes behind it. Get tested, get profiled, get on TrackMan when we can, and those kind of bits and pieces, get videoed, find out what do you need to work on, because it might not be what you think about.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Excellent. So Ray, it's as always, it's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thanks, Bert. Enjoyed that.
Hopefully it won't be too long until we can see you in person as well. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to getting up, and I know we've spoken. There's loads of exciting things going on at Three Hammers for you guys. We're building working bits and pieces. I'm excited to come and see it in the flesh, and get coaching and get helping more clients and more golfers. Ultimately, play better, shoot lower scores, really.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be. It's been a hellish time, isn't it? And again, for everyone who's watching, we wish you and your families all the very best, and hope you stay safe. There is now light at the end of a pretty dismal tunnel. So Ray, it's been awesome to have you on. And for everyone watching, we hope it's the 2021 is going to be a memorable golf season for you. It hasn't started off the best, but look, the weather's been horrific. And I'd probably argue whether there'd be too many golf courses would have been open anyway at the start of this year. So
yeah, I think you smack on. I think you look at January and we had a week of snow, a week of frost, and a week of horrible wet weather. So yeah, if we'd managed to get out 5 times already this year, I think you would have been doing well, I think.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. But guys, please take on board what Ray's the points which we've discussed today. Great advice from Ray. I've got to say it's been awesome working with you, Ray, and I've seen some great improvements from some of my golfers, and continue to do that as well during these lockdown period. Guys, we wish you all the best, and Ray, can't wait to see you at the Three Hammers, and everybody else there. Yeah, we're counting down the days, literally, when we find out when we can open the doors. But
I would say get the green light and full steam ahead, definitely.
Get the green light, and yeah, then we can. Then it's go time, springtime, Masters. It's all around the corner. So Masters again. Yes. It's weird, that isn't it?
So quick, yeah, brilliant in one regards.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon. Any questions? Just drop a comment, and we'll happily get into contact with you as soon as we pick them up. Cheers, guys.